Hashtags are dead on Instagram in 2026. Instagram announced that keywords should be favored. Instagram announced that it will be available in search engines in 2026. So, if you're a street photographer, make sure that you include the word street and the type of street photography somewhere in your bio. Welcome back to TR Street Mag, the show that provides you with valuable street photography insights, new perspectives, and helps you become more creative. If you do enjoy these weekly episodes, make sure to drop me a follow. In today's deep dive, we uncover the real truth behind the Instagram algorithm in the photography world, new strategies for growing with still imagery, the secret fall of AI and photo manipulation, and finally, why this new revival benefits us as raw street photographers. Instagram's CEO, Adam Mosseri, announced at the end of 2025 that moving forward, Instagram would start favouring authentic content, giving creators a fairer chance of being seen, as long as they share their journey, making it entertaining for their audiences. Instagram admit that they are struggling to deal with the AI generation as it rapidly improves. It is becoming increasingly harder to identify authenticity that is human from authenticity that was made by AI. It is truly nervy times that we are living in, but it's fair to say that Mosseri is focused on clamping down on deepfake content and fake media. However, there is a lot of debate around whether Instagram will keep promoting AI content, and are they really trying their best to remove the content that isn't pure? I guess we'll find out the real answer to that over the next few years. So why does this matter to me and you? Well, for most photographers, we aren't solely focused on creating video content in our spare time, but we still want to have a fair chance of being seen. In this episode, we'll dive into ways we can battle these issues and grow together. Instagram's original co-founders created the app to simplify sharing, where people could connect through visual storytelling and fostered community between friends, family, and daily life. This created the start of the modern influencers, which drove its success as a content creation app. The app evolved over into an entertainment hub, home to 25% of the world's population, regularly using the app every year. While there is a heavy focus on video through its competition with TikTok and YouTube, Instagram still remains a centre of the digital community and relies on community building to grow creator followings. As street photographers, we should focus on the individual connections we can create through engagement, utilising Instagram features like saves, shares to stories, and the new feature of reposts. By taking a few minutes per day to reshare others' content, we can foster our connection with others. One of the most recognised social media strategies for community building is the 5-5-5 strategy. The 5x5x5 strategy involves engaging with 5 new accounts, leaving thoughtful comments on 5 unique posts, and replying to 5 unique stories, reels, or posts. That's it. 5 of each once a day. Hopefully, you understand by now that whether it's 3 posts or 5, if you can build consistency with interacting with your target audience or community, you'll expand your reach, leading to new followers without spending hours getting action bans for too much engagement. While I appreciate the use of Photoshop manipulation in professional photography and generative AI, it's pretty clear that there is a divide between content creator street photographers and raw street photographers. Studies have shown that a large portion of users edit their photos, with one study noting that 83% of 18 to 25-year-olds edit their photos purely for social media. There is a known distinction between professional photography, which may use subtle retouching, and Instagram photography, which often embraces dramatic, attention-grabbing manipulations to boost engagement. Often we see street photos at train stations that are labelled long exposures, when in reality, it's a radar blur created in Photoshop that a camera simply cannot recreate. This is quite detrimental for beginner street photographers who have started out learning their craft. As they scroll through Instagram, they are seeing these big creators, with no disrespect to these big creators, who are labeling some of these posts long exposures. Now, when I started photography, I thought those pictures were really cool, and I wanted to be able to create that in my camera. And I spent such a long time figuring out how to do it. And I dived deep, headfirst, into long exposure photography. And did my pictures end up looking like that? No, because I found out over time that you cannot create something like that in your camera. You can only do that in post-processing. So it's detrimental to the learning of new photographers who don't quite understand it. And for a lot of, not to say that those creators aren't genuine people, but for those people out there who don't want to do heavy photo manipulation in street photography, it almost feels like you have to cheat in order to grow on Instagram. And that can literally just be photos on their own. These are the photos that are reaching millions of people. And if that's your style, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is for 60% of the other photographers who are just going about their day, trying to grow their account, is that that's their competition in order for them to have the same level of success. So it's nice to know that Adam Mosseri has turned a corner. However, there is a lot of debate and frustration around the AI argument, and his comments around the AI argument don't fully suggest that he is against the use of AI. So, like I say, that would be something that develops over the next few years. So it'll be interesting to see where Instagram goes regarding the AI model. Of course, I'm not going to tell you to stop trying to reach large groups of people through video content, but to make it easier for you, Instagram currently pushes carousels with music to a wider audience than those without. Adding music to a carousel allows it to be displayed in the Reels feed, which significantly increases visibility to non-followers. So if you're not aware, a carousel is when you can post more than one photo. So a carousel could literally be, you select 2 photos, that can be a carousel. The carousel feature is used when it's more than one photo. So singular photos don't often show up in the Reels feed, but carousel feature, that does. It always does. This does not mean that you need to use the latest trending music. Use music that fits the mood of the post. For example, if you're creating moody nighttime street pictures with dark blue skies or yellow skies or different coloured skies, then maybe pick something that is a little bit more eerie that matches the feel of the photo. Your sound choice matters a lot more than you think. Sound has a direct relationship to storytelling and separates posts with wider reach to posts that are only shown to followers. These carousels are often created with slow-paced audio to complement high-contrast, urban, or nostalgic visuals, making them feel like a short, moody film rather than a static photo dump. Hashtags are dead on Instagram in 2026. Instagram announced that keywords should be favoured. So think about your bio, your username, and other name choices, not just your post descriptions. Instagram announced that it will be available in search engines in 2026. So, if you're a street photographer, make sure that you include the word street and the type of street photography somewhere in your bio. For example, I added street portraits and travel to the top of my bio, as well as the type of photography being the art of film and digital. This tells Instagram to attract film and digital, street travel and portrait audiences to my page. So what does this mean moving forward? Remember to find a balance, connect with those you want to attract to your page rather than following every single type of photographer, because you're telling Instagram that general photography is your audience. So when you hear people talk about a niche is a specific type of person. A niche can be a person who's into music, technology, and football. I'm just going to use that for the sake of it, right? A different person could be into wildlife, astrology, and mindfulness, right? So specific type of person. So specific types of people do specific things, right? So that's something you really need to think about when you're engaging with other accounts. Don't just engage with every single type of photographer, because you're not telling Instagram, I want every photographer to connect with me, because it's literally impossible, right? So you have to be really specific, right? So think about who you want to attract in order to foster a community. Build a consistent style and reach more accounts. Strive for intentional engagement by using the 555 strategy. We are reclaiming Instagram as a community for photographers, not just a billboard for content creators. We're now in the video era, but that doesn't mean shift your entire focus to video content. It also doesn't mean don't try to use video content. Just don't put 100% effort in to video, right? So carousels, they'll still show up in video features like Reels, as long as you add music. This gives us the freedom to take street photography that we actually enjoy, edit for our own purpose rather than to make our photos more dramatic, and we can actually share that with other people. So Adam Maziri's focus is on authenticity. It's one of the key talking points. So just keep being yourself, show your creative process. So when we're talking about reels and stuff, rather than putting, loads of your pictures on a slideshow, not that it doesn't work, but if you were to show how you created that, I'm sure you probably tell your friends, oh, I made this photo like this, right? I developed this film in a certain way. People want to know that, right? So, if it's not so perfect and you're only getting a couple of hundred views, practice, right? I'm only getting, let's say, I'm only getting 100 views, right? But someone else only gets 1 view. You're getting 100. Be consistent. Consistency is, the main factor behind you growing your account, right? So if you're going to be doing regular video, try and keep it to the same theme, the same style of content. That will help you reach new audiences, right? The old world is dying. We are seeing the fall of heavy Photoshop manipulation. While the Instagram edit still exists, the 2026 audience is craving the raw and the real, creating a clear lane for those of us who prefer the straight out of the camera truth. So if you think about YouTube, for example, YouTube is following a similar path, where YouTube is focused on people's stories as well. So we're actually seeing a trend in other social media platforms as well. So just remember, we don't need to be videographers to succeed. By mastering keywords instead of hashtags and using audio carousels, we can climb into the Reels feed, letting our still imagery do the heavy lifting rather than creating creative burnout. Save your energy going forward. Stop wasting hours on mindless scrolling and generic engagement. Instead, focus on creating purposeful work and spending a few high-impact minutes on meaningful connections that actually build a community. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please consider supporting TR Street Mag by following the show. You can join our community with monthly workshops, photo walks, and one-to-one mentoring by following me on Instagram. Link is in the bio for all the latest announcements. I'm Tommy Regan. Stay creative, and I'll see you in next week's episode.